Thank you. Hi, I'm Robin P. And I'm a very grateful recovered compulsive overeater currently in Nashville, Tennessee. It's 1 a.m. here. So I I took a nap and woke up so I could speak. Um, I love London and England, and we were just there for 2 months, and my fervent prayers that we are moving there. So I really appreciate all of you very much. I hope you can hear me and see me. We're in a new house, a rental here while we're here, and this is the first time that I'm trying to be on a Zoom meeting here. So I hope you can hear me and see me. And if you can, okay, great. And if something changes with that, let me know, and I will turn off the camera. So I grew up in a lot of child abuse, a lot of trauma, and it just of every kind. And my mother kept marrying, rageaholics, sex addicts, other, alcoholics. And my mother has a lot of rage herself, and she just kept marrying. Really, like her picker was broken, and I became the brunt of a lot of it, and it was really a traumatic childhood. And I just always remember from day one, as soon as I can remember that if I could have a snack or a treat or, you know, I won't mention food specifically, but just use your imagination. Um, then I would feel like everything's okay. It was my denial mechanism. Well, this is all going on, but it's okay because I can eat this. And I would just say, I'm loved. I got a special treat and I'm okay. And I lived with my mom in New York, and then my dad. I grew up with all this stuff going on, but I also came onto the planet with gifts. And I have this huge singing voice. I'm 5 foot and 100 pounds, and by God's grace, and so I'm small, and yet I have this huge booming singing voice that is 3.5 octaves. I was born this way, can do anything. It's just this gift. And I feel like a lot of us are like that, where, we have these trauma things that happen, but we also have these gifts that we were born with or that we cultivate and that are blessings to us. And so my dad said if I moved, my dad was a famous orchestra conductor that traveled around the world on a floating arts center designed by a famous architect, and he would bring music to people all over the world. And people would always say, "Oh, you're his daughter," and I would think, "Yeah, if you knew what happened behind closed doors." So there was all this secrecy stuff and shame, lots of shame. And so he promised me singing, acting, and dancing lessons if I moved back with him in 10th grade, which is in our high school and years. And it just got worse. I was like Cinderella to his children. It just got more traumatic. And I kept thinking, once I get out of here, I'll be fine. And once I get to college, all the trauma will disappear. Well, I took me with me, and so when I was in the summer of 11th grade, I went to visit my mother for the summer, and things were very bad there with her boyfriend. And um, her boyfriend said, "I can tell you don't like me, and I have all the power in this house, and you have none. So um, if you don't like me, you'll be out of here." And so that's what happened. And I, that summer before that happened, one night I thought, I ate too much food. I was 15, and I thought, I know I'm the smartest person. I'm going to go stick my finger down my throat, and this won't count. And I can eat whatever I want and be thin. And my father had this thing. He was so much shame. If he had any relatives who were overweight, he would pretend they weren't his relative. My dad was a compulsive overeater, but very controlled. And so it was this control thing. And so I thought, oh, wow, I get to eat whatever I want and still be thin. And so we use things till they use us. And that summer, I just became a raging bulimic. And that pattern continued for a long time. Uh, so
That's 5 minutes, Robin.
okay, thank you. I spoke for 5 minutes. Okay, thank you. And so so I went to go live with a family where I was taking care of their children. And my phone just did something. I hope you can see me. Okay, so and I remember hearing the woman. They were such a nice family. They said she's eating us out of house and home. Like it was so embarrassing, so much shame, and I couldn't stop. And anytime I had a feeling, I would just literally, the feeling would come up. I just was I couldn't let myself feel anything. I didn't have a way to process anything. And I became anorexic. I became mostly bulimic because I needed the high and the fix. Um, just I just felt like a ball of shame in the center of the universe. So I went to NYU, New York University, and I went to the drama department there, and I got cast on Broadway, in Broadway musicals in New York with a very famous pop star, and it was a huge hit. And I was playing her little sister, and it's actually um, the origins of this musical are actually England, but our version started on Broadway, and so it was just magic. And I was going to NYU still, and someone in my dormitory 12 stepped me, and I had always thought I'm the only one who knows I'm bulimic. No one can tell. Everyone knew. Everyone could tell. Everyone could tell I had a huge problem, but I was just like, I have very fast metabolism. Right. So I started going to meetings in New York City at this old church called Moravian Church. And I got abstinent on gray sheet. And gray sheet is weighed and measured very strictly. And I um, and I went and got cast in another musical where I was co-starring with another famous pop star, in a biblical musical. It's like about Joseph and his coat. And so um I did not deal with all the trauma and all the relationship addiction. It was like changing addictions, like changing rooms on the Titanic. You're still in a stateroom, you're still going down. So I got very addicted to a co-star in the first musical I mentioned. And we were dating. He It wasn't good. And I just kept thinking, oh, all you people, I went to some of the other 12-step program. Oh, all of you people, you think that you're powerless over people. I am not powerless over people. I will change this person. You just haven't tried hard enough. It was just like the definition of insanity and the definition of true powerlessness. That thing where the illusion of control, that illusion of control in any area, that's the first step. I am powerless over food and my life has become unmanageable. I need that first step before I can do any other step. And I need to know it in the core of my being. I'm done. Am I willing to go to any lengths to recover? And so, you know, I had so much trauma that it kept popping up in other ways, like trying to put my fingers in the dam, and I was running out of fingers. So I went back out one night at 3 in the morning after a date with this guy, and I could not get abstinent again. And I started trying all forms of like chanting and I, I I just couldn't get it. And it felt really strict to me. And it felt like I was trying to control it and I was trying to white knuckle. And I, this show that I was doing, this second Broadway show, we went on the road and touring. And I would be on a food plan for 6 months and then have a binge, and then 6 months and then have a binge. I couldn't figure out what was going on, why I couldn't get long term. And so I came back, got in another musical, went on the road again with a Broadway tour. And, I would go to meetings on the road. Um, it just was really hard though. And so we were everywhere. And so I went and I was asked to
10
record.
minutes, Robin.
Thank you. I was asked to record an album, so I did that, and I was just trying to get abstinent, but I would have like 6 months in a slip, 6 months. So I moved to California. I met my husband and my stepdaughter and our 2 dogs at the time, and I kept backburnering my self-care. I wasn't in OA anymore. I was just we were hiking all the time, and I was super fit. And again, it would be every 6 months I'd have this horrendous binge, and I would be so checked out for 3 days, and I wasn't connecting to humans when that would happen. I could feel this wall or God. And I came in Jewish atheist, Jewish by blood, but atheist by belief. And it was really intense. And like everything, my dad said he was God, and it wasn't good. And I had this spiritual awakening with this voice that led me to God, my God and my understanding, a very profound, like Bill Wilson talks about the profound variety that happened to me. And so I started, going to church, and I started um, really working on my spirituality, but I was still doing it myself. My husband and I became an inventor. I invented several products and brought them to market. And, I was really trying, but I wasn't working a program. And so my husband and I went through a really rough time, and we got divorced. And during that year of being away from each other, somehow someone mentioned a phone meeting. I don't even know how it happened. And I thought, there are phone meetings, this was 10 years ago. And I'm coming up on 10 years of abstinence in OA, it's a vision for you. I don't know if I'm allowed to say a meeting. And it's a phone meeting. It's really helped me. My abstinence, I don't binge, I don't vomit, I don't starve. And I have 3 meals a day. Sometimes if I need a snack, I have a snack. I measure, I'm a organic, gluten-free vegan. And I travel all the time. I travel more than anybody I know in this program, literally. And and I can be abstinent anywhere on the planet. Thank you, God. Even with my food is my medicine. It used to be my poison. I feel really passionately about for me not hurting animals. And so that's a thing for me that I feel. And I also not eating poison. I feel really passionately about not eating poison. And in the US, there's so much poison. There's patented poison in the seeds. Anyway, ugh. And the animal factories, I just feel very passionately about, eating God's food. So the best of my ability. So, and I love the steps so much. My husband and I got back together again after a year. We got remarried during the California wildfires of 2018, which we did not plan in Los Angeles. And the second time we were getting married, our friend's house burned down to the ground the night before our wedding. Our honeymoon resort burned down to the ground. And we had our wedding, our reception, and our honeymoon at our church rectory. So I always feel like the first marriage, we spiritually went through the fires. The second marriage, we literally went through the fires. And we've been married ever since. And we both grew up. We both are in programs. We are both working our recoveries. The steps have saved my life. I love the steps. The 10th step is my hero. And I believe in reaching up and reaching out. This is a faith walk, not a fear walk. And I get to participate in my own recovery. I fell in love with London every time we've been there. It's like magic for me.
1 minute. Thank you, Robin.
Oh my God, how can it be 1 minute? So because I talked too long. So I really wanted to talk about the steps. I love there's a 10-step group that a lot of people from this meeting and other people go to. I literally was in London for 2 months, did London Film Festival, went to everything, all the theater, all the magic on the steps outside, bands playing, free dance classes at Trafalgar Square. I just love the people. I feel like there's so much open heartedness. I came back to Nashville because we had these 2 dogs from Costa Rica that we rescued. We lived in Costa Rica for 3 years. We rescued them. No one could take them. They were going to starve again. So we took them to Nashville, got them a dog sitter while we were in London, and we had to come back for them. And we're regrouping. And I went through grieving, leaving London, just came to Nashville and just cried for like 2 weeks. My husband, God bless him. Oh my God, that's, so I'll
Please
just
wrap
say,
up.
thank you. I'll just say that I'm so grateful for recovery. It gives me a chance to live in 10, 11, and 12. I pray only for knowledge of his will and the power to carry that out. I can work through anything. I'm doing more grief work, more trauma work. I'm working my recovery physically, emotionally, and spiritually. That's the key for me. And all of you, I'm so grateful for all of you. Some of my friends are in this meeting. Thank you so much for asking me to speak.
Thank you.
God bless you all.